Hi guys, welcome to the studio and welcome to a tutorial Thursday. Okay, yeah, it's been a while. It's been a long while. Okay, so today we're going to do something really simple. It's not a new thing, it's been done loads of times. We're going to make our own fabric tape. Okay, so I got this from a craft show that I attended, and well, I didn't vend there, I was a buyer. But yeah, it is just fabric tape, so it's basically washi tape or sticky tape, but it's fabric instead of paper. Okay, so those were the examples, and before I do anything else, I'm just going to take a couple of pictures and then I can use that as a thumbnail. Alright, so we'll pop that there because we're keeping that in mind. That's what we're going to use, that's what we're going to make. I have previously done this and trialled it. I mean, not that it needed trialling, but I previously did it. Yep, so there we go. That was a little square of orangey coloured fabric that I have and then I used it to make this beautiful tag. As you can see, there is a big piece down there and a little piece across there, and that's it. But it just adds a little something. And all you will need, excuse me, literally all you will need for today's project is some fabric. Scraps are great for this. I just have this little square, well, this little bundle of squares that my mum bought me ages ago. So you need some fabric, some scissors, and some double-sided sticky tape. And that is it, guys. If you want to make a tag or anything afterwards, then, you know, you've got everything you need for that, probably. But this is all you need for the tutorial stroke demonstration. Okay, so to start off with, I have already chosen a few fabrics that I would like to do, and I've put them to the top of the pile. So I'm just going to pop them away because they were just for like show sort of thing. Okay, so I'm going to use this beautiful blue one, this brownie coloured one, nice autumnal colours, this beautiful one, another beautiful blue and yellow, and then this gorgeous brown. Alright, and like I said, we're going to make some fabric tape. So I'm going to start with this brown one actually, because it is very striking, and it is not straight. You can see that it is not cut straight whatsoever. It came like that, but it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, guys. I mean, it might do, but I'm not going to fuss over it. Alright, so you just literally get your double-sided tape, and it is this simple, guys. You just go from one side of your fabric. I usually leave a little bit overhang and then I know I've got it. So from one side of your fabric, and you can square it off on your mat if you would like a nice straightish line. So yep, go from one side of your fabric to the other, and that's it. Obviously on the reverse of the fabric. Let me just stress that. You don't want to be sticking it to the front of your fabric. And that's it. Now this tape is not as wide as the backing. It is, I don't know what dimension it is, but it's not as wide as the backing. But it doesn't matter, because for me that's really good, because you've got a nice little gap between when you cut them up, but also there's a nice edge on it then that you can fray afterwards. And then we're just going to use that first tape line, that tape, as a guide. And obviously you cut the excess off later. So we're just going to carry on doing that. Okay, so the tape is now on the back, and I'm just going to give this a bit of a burnish to get the tape to adhere quite well. Okay, and then we're going to just peel the material off the mat. Some of the sticky tape will stay behind, but that's fine because it's just off these little bits that were stuck to the mat. And then we're going to cut around the excess. I mean, obviously you could keep some of these, because if they haven't already stuck to your mat, then they're still sticky. So you'd have some smaller pieces of tape to use in other projects. I am just going to square that off a little bit, although it won't be square because I've cut it. And then we're going to cut down the side here. 1 second. Okay guys, so sorry about that. I just FaceTime call with my daughter, which is our normal morning routine. But whilst on call to her, I I added tape to the backs of all these as well. So we were doing this brown one. Okay, so now we've got the tape on the back. If you just do that, then you can get into the middle, and then you just basically cut down each strip like so on the back. Cut between the joins, and then you're not cutting the sticky tape off. Oops. You can fold it like that and do it like so, but I prefer to just kind of get the scissors in between and do it like this. Probably helps if you use fabric scissors, but because we're using sticky tape, I don't want to mess up my fabric scissors, so I'm just using normal ones. As you can see, it says paper. So there we go. Some little bits come off here, and I did end up with a few leftover bits where the tape wasn't wide enough to cover the rest of the material, so they just ended up as little offcuts, which are fine because they've now gone in the scrap fabric jar, or fabric scraps. Okay, so we literally just cut them apart down where they're joined. This is where it comes in useful that the tape isn't the full width of the release tape, because you're just cutting tape off. You're just cutting the backing off, not the actual tape. Okay, so I'm going to speed this up, guys, because you don't need to watch me doing all of this. Okay guys, I'm back, and if like me you cannot for the life of you cut in a straight line, even though there's a straight line looking at you, that's not big enough, you can use your craft knife and a ruler. So let's do that. And then you just line up again the gap. So much easier than cutting in a straight line with scissors, when like me you cannot cut in a straight line. Or if you have a rotary cutter for fabric, that would work too. I hate using them, I cannot control it. Okay guys, that was actually so much easier than the scissors. Okay guys, so I have finished cutting them all up, and then my next step, this doesn't have to be done at all, would be to take I mean you can do it with your nails if you have them. I don't have nails, I bit them off. So just take a pokey tool, craft pick, whatever, and fray the edges. As I said, this doesn't need to be done, or you can do this more nearer to the time you want to use the fabric tape, but I really love the frayed edge look. So some of them will fray easier than others. Others, like this, you just kind of need to help it along a little bit. It does not matter about this release tape overhanging the sides, because the craft tape, the sticky tape, is where it needs to be in the middle. If, like me, well, not like me, but if unlike me, you can get it central. We'll cut it so that it is centralised. Okay, so mind your fingers doing this, obviously, guys. So now we have some craft tape with some beautiful frayed edges. Okay, so that is another process. Okay, so now we're going to use some tape and make a tag, just to show you what you can do with it. Alright, so I'm going to pop all these up here, kind of out the way, but where I can see them. Now I have here some tags ready made from just from scrapbook paper. So this is beautiful. It's literally just a 6x6 piece folded in half and cut down. So we have this beautiful pink one, we have this one which is what I used to create this tag. I just cut it down a bit. And then I have these two here which are pockets. There we go, use this. So they are little tag pockets. And I think we're going to use this one. So they're just folded in half and glued back to back, so they're decorative on both sides. I have here 3 little coloured pieces of cardstock, which is Maude Lawn, Pine Needles and Rustic Wilderness. I'm not sure what order they're in, but this is Distress Crayon and then mixed with water, so that we could use them as elements. And then I have some vellum stickers here. So I've got butterflies, I've got mushrooms, I've got florals, coloured florals, black and white florals. That's material. Then we've got dragonflies there, but I don't want to use them. I don't think I want mushrooms because I've got them on there. Got mushrooms on that one. So let's see if we can find a floral and a butterfly that will tie in. Okay, so I think I want to go a bit wild with this one. Let's see, we've got some threads left over as well from fraying it. So I think, like I said, I want to go a little bit wild with this one. So I think I'm going to use blue. Pink and blue. Not a fan of that. I think that, and I'm kind of going to do the same. I'm going to go down one edge there and then just across the top here. And you can, if you would like, add glue when you've took the release paper off. You could add some glue just to make it extra sticky. Make sure it's adhered really well. I'm going to fray the edge of this. I apologise for the background noise. The window is open because I am boiling. I mean, it's not a particularly hot day here today. It's only like 14, 15 degrees, but I'm melting for some reason today. So let's do that. I'm not sure if these edges are going to fray easily. So a bit of force. Maybe not. Come on. You know you want to. There we go. That will do. Alrighty then. So, I'm going to put this onto the tag. And as you can see, or I hope you can see, even though the release paper is full length, this is just in the middle of the fabric. It's only a thin strip. Some sticky tape is the full length, but this one is not. So I am going to put it so that the shorter frayed edge is to that side. I'm just going to stick it, excuse me guys, I'm just going to stick it on. Like so. That combination, not straight at all, but that combination's pretty. And then we need a piece across the top here. Well, we don't need it, but we're going to put it across the top there, similar to what I did with that. Do I want that, or do I want this blue one? Don't really want that. Yeah, I want this one. Again, I'll fray this around on the sides. I'm not really going to bother about the edges, these little edges, but I'm going to fray across the long edges, like so. Okay. And then I'm going to cut this, because I only want a little piece across there. So maybe to there. Okay, and then alright, so I'm going to put that there. No rhyme or... Okay guys, so we have those on there, and I was just getting all the extra bits out ready, like I said, the butterflies and the florals and these, and I was putting a few down and sorting them out, and the camera went off. Anywho, well, I noticed the camera had gone off. Yeah, so excuse me. I've got that one, that one. That is the same as that one. One sec, I need to cough. Okay, guys. Wow, sorry, I just needed to cough. I swallowed the wrong way. I just threw them on there because they're, you know, like, oh, they'll match colour-wise, and they actually look really nice as is. So let's see, what else have we got in here? So we've got a pink one. I think that's too pink. We have that one, but I think it's too plain. Some of these have been cut in half when I've used them in previous projects. Ooh, we've got a nice subtle pink one there. That's pretty. What else have we got in here? That's got a bit of pink in it, but it's the wrong sort. Pink and yellow. No, I don't like that one. A nice teal colour. That would be nice with those, if we incorporated those. A nice blue one. So we could incorporate 3 butterflies. Turquoisey pink, turquoise no. A pinky purple, a blue, and another bluey purple colour. That is that, I like that. It's simple, but I like it. They would look really nice with that. Okay, so I guess this one is just going to be that simple, I think. So sometimes less really is more. Oh wow, can't believe I nearly choked on my own saliva. Well, I can't, because I am that talented. Okay, so this is going to go in this bottom section here. I'll put those on first, and then I can try to centralise this butterfly. How cute is that? So it really is that simple. And let's round the corners. I'm going to leave that tag as a large tag like so as well. I'm not going to cut it down, we'll leave it big. That is cute, I really like that. Okay, and let's use my slot punch, get off, which is what I used there. So try and centralise that. Okay. And what I also do with this sometimes is realign it, but a little bit over, so it makes the hole just a teensy bit bigger. So when you put in fabric or something in it as a topper, it just sits better. It fits better and it sits better on it. So what can we put in there? What can we put in it? I don't want to use the same as that, obviously, because it's the wrong colour. What about if we use... Well, no, that actually wouldn't work now, would it? Because we've used it as tape, so let me see what I've got. I'm not very organised because I didn't think about this. Let's just use some... I'm going to say burlap. Oops. Okay, just ignore that, guys, it's just an alarm. I was going to say let's use some burlap, but let's actually use some beautiful ribbon. Okay, that will do. I keep forgetting, even though they're up here in front of me, I keep forgetting about them. But yeah, so let's just pop that through. And we don't need it to be that big, so let's cut it off there. And I'm going to use my tiny attacher stapler just to staple that in place, and I can get it lined up. There we go. Like so. Oh, how pretty is that? That really is beautiful. And it's nice and plain on the back. You could actually still write on the back of there, it's pale enough. But if you wanted to, you could kind of knock it back a little bit with some with some gesso. Let's do that. Oops. Let's get a brush, just dry. That brush is way too stiff. Excuse me. There we go. Okay. Let's just apply some gesso on the back, just to knock it back a bit, but you will still see the pattern. Just take a bit from the lid. Not the lid, the neck of the bottle, but... Okay, let's dry brush it on, like so. You don't need to do all of it, but, you know, why not? Alright, and gesso always dries a little bit more lighter, that's the word, a little bit lighter than what it looks. So let's just do that with the heat tool. Okay guys, so if excuse me, if you are going to gesso the back and dry it, I suggest you would do that first before sticking vellum stickers down, because the heat from the back has just unpeeled them. But obviously that's not a problem. Oops. That's not a problem because you can just add glue to them. So, no, we'll use some 3-in-1 actually. Yeah, so I mean, if you want it to be kind of a permanent fixture, you're better off doing that anyway. You could also use just glue stick. So, cover that up where I pulled it off. Okay. As I said, you could use glue stick. Let's do that with the other two. Hopefully I can get it off without ripping it. Yeah, that's not too bad. So, oops. Okay, bit of glue stick. Glue stick's not that bad actually, because if you don't get it on just how you want it the first time, there is a little bit of wriggle room for moving around. 3-in-1 is pretty permanent, so once you've put it on, there's not much wriggle room. Ooh, this one does not want to come off. Okay, so we'll just peel that back and apply the glue to that side. Put it back down. And then we'll do the same to this side. Actually, I don't think this side needs doing. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry, guys, if you heard that. My tummy's grumbling. I'm hungry. Okay, there we are. So that is done. And then, if you like, you could ink around the edges. But sometimes I don't think it needs it. Oh, I love how simple that is. So it's just 2 pieces of the fabric tape that we made and 3 vellum butterflies. That's it. This one on some lace, ribbon. This one, again, was the same, just a bit of scrapbook paper. Could gesso on the back of that, definitely. That's what it looks like on the back with the gesso. So you can still see the design, but it's now more torn down, so it's easier to write on. This one would definitely need some gesso because that would be hard to see writing over that. But again, just a tag. Made from some scrapbook paper, 1 strip, 2 strips of the fabric tape and 2 vellum stickers there. That is it. That's all I added to that, and then I roughed up the edge with my distress tool, and then I went round it with ink. So yeah, that's it basically, guys. It is so cool. And then I'm just going to pull these little bits apart at the edge, actually. I'm going to rough those up a little bit. Like so. It just looks a bit better. And yeah, so there you go. That is the tutorial for today. As I said, very quick, very simple one. All you need is some material scraps, some double-sided tape, and some scissors. Anything else, obviously like I did, is a optional extra. So yeah, or you could sew around it and everything, all that good stuff, but that's it, guys. There we go. So, thank you so much for watching. Take care, stay safe, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.